our discussion. The management of Dangote Group has firmly refuted circulating reports that it has set the pump price of petrol at 600 naira per litre for sales to marketers nationwide. The group's chief branding officer and communications officer, Mr. Anthony Chijena, stated this, that there was no discussion on the price of premium motor spirit with Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, and they had no mandate authority to speak for them. He urged the public to desist from such speculative announcements, saying the company has official channels through which it disseminates information to its stakeholders. Meanwhile, to our first discussion, ever since the Dangote Refinery began production late last year, it has faced numerous challenges. It has been in conflict with many major players in the industry, including the National Oil Company, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, as well as two industry regulators, Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission and the Nigerian Midstream Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. The management of the facility has accused these entities of either directly sabotaging the refinery or attempting to do so by limiting its access to required crude supply and penetration of local markets. In the past 2 months, conflicts have been commonplace between the refinery's management and the strategic operators and regulators. But the NNPC Limited and other regulators have denied all accusations and maintained that their operations complies with the laws outlined in the Petroleum Industry Act and that accompanies the regulations. Mr. Light Shedrack is an international business ideation specialist, a statecraft advocate, a communication strategist, and a self-reliance and good governance advocate. He sits on the board of many local and international organizations, such as Pro-Justice and Development Observers Initiative. He joins me now live from our Abuja studios to speak around this. Mr. Shedrack, thank you and good afternoon, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tolu. I feel glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
I think we should start our conversation this way. The management of Dangote Refinery has accused the NUPRC and IOCs of not supplying domestic crude to its refinery. As a local company, shouldn't Dangote be the first to get crude supply before these IOCs? And why is the NUPRC not fully supplying this crude to Dangote?
Tolu, thanks for that question. Let me start by congratulating Nigerian youths. We just celebrated the International Youth Day, and the Nigerian youths, I want to say, are very resilient people, quite creative. We have a lot to offer the society, and I want to use the opportunity to encourage each and every one of us, the youth, to really stand tall for this country. Nigeria has to be redeemed. Nigeria is worth putting all the effort that we need to put in. So, back to your question. Well, I don't want to be sounding as if I am speaking for the government or for anything. I am just a personal, private observer. I said earlier that when this issue of the NNPC, Dangote Refinery, issue came up, I, just like most Nigerians, believe that there was an attempt to frustrate the effort of Mr. Dangote. But I tell people, when we receive piece of information, it behooves us to subject those information to our own personal deep introspections and research. And that is exactly what I did. And some of my findings is what I tend to share with us today. I've said it earlier at a point that I do not see Dangote's having any problem with the federal government or an NPC. But I want to say at the same time, I want to repeat that Dangote's problem is with the IOCs, OICs, that is the international oil companies. I made a comment the other time that as a business ideation specialist that if you want to go into any business, the first you should do is to have a very functional, I use the word very functional, feasibility and viability study. That helps you to know the direction your company should be going in terms of where you source your raw materials, your expected market, expected returns on investment, the time frame within which you are expected to get those returns. In a typical viability and feasibility study, if you set up a company, provision is made for losses within the first year to the third year, sometimes to the fifth year of the existence of that company, because it is expected this time frame is when you are expected to begin to, penetrate uncharted paths, markets, places that you've not been to prior to this time. So that is about that. Now, coming to the question, is Dangote Refinery getting crude from the federal government? I can say from my own personal research, yes, Dangote is getting crude. I dare say, and I challenge him anyway, from my investigation so far, Dangote has taken delivery of 39 vessels laden with crude oil to his refinery. But let me tell you something interesting about this. People think there's no concession made for Dangote, but I went in deeper to know, is there really any effort by this government to, as claimed by in some quarters, that Dangote, their effort to frustrate him? Let me tell you what I found out to be true in the course of trying to. Dangote receives, okay, let me give you a little overview of how this whole thing works. When you are trading on crude oil, to the best of my knowledge, there is what we call a marketing margin. That marketing margin ranges from $1.5 to $20 per barrel. That is, the marketing margin is what the trader uses to recoup his expenses, logistics, and everything. It is, like I said earlier, it ranges between $1.5 to $20, depending on the market variables. But let me tell you something that so far, the supply the FG has made to Dangote Refinery came at $0.5. That is less than $1. A huge concession to that refinery. That means governments or the international oil companies have, they can reckon between $1.5 to $20. But in the case of this, Dangote is getting it in less than $1, $0.5. I want Nigerians to, at this point in time, let us not move like the fishes, the tuna fish that move the ocean wave. Let us be stable. Let us sit down, introspect and look at things critically, facts and figures. Trying to align with a particular party, trying to sing their praises, try to be their foot soldier doesn't help Nigeria in any way. Now, there was an allegation by Dangote the other time that the international oil companies sell to him at 6% above the accepted price. But like I've laid the foundation, I told you that the marketing margin could range between $1.5 to $20. If Dangote is getting crude at 6% marketing margin, I think that's fair enough, because and it should have come that way because there is an intervention for him. Someone possibly could have talked to these IOCs to say, this is a company dear to us. This is a strategic establishment that we want its survival. I'm not holding brief, like I said, for the federal government, but these are facts that we should lay out there for Nigerians to begin to get involved, to look at these claims that are being made by the Dangote Group. It has come to the point, I keep saying that emotions doesn't take us anywhere. And I am saying at this point, we should graduate from talking to showing. I expect Dangote to show facts and figures, all those claims he makes. Because the other party, Nigerians as stakeholders, have the right as well to ask questions and to come up with their own findings. And that is exactly what I'm doing here. So another thing, I stated it, that Dangote wants rules to be bent for him. I do not owe apology for making such statement. Why do I say so? If you are going to build such massive refinery, the first thing, if I were him, I would have done is to, one, yes, he has already market, but the source of raw materials to your refinery should have been one of those things you put in the front burner. You should have secured enough commitment, enough agreement, enough arrangement to ensure that there will be constant flow of crude to your refinery. If Dangote has done that, I don't think Dangote will be having the problem he is having today. And I ask myself, why did Dangote not go into any formal, very solid, concrete arrangement to ensure constant supply of crude oil to his refinery? I find out one thing. Well, you might say it's a Nigerian factor. Arrangement is different from agreements. Agreements are binding on us. If we enter into any agreement with anybody, we are telling ourselves that we are ready to go with every detail of that agreement, every provision of that agreement. But if it is arrangement, under arrangement, rules could be bent. You could walk through the back door and still have your things done. So I keep asking myself, why did Dangote not secure this agreement? And it falls back to the very fact that he is a Nigerian businessman that, let me put it this way, Dangote should come from the path of gratitude. Because whatever he is today, whoever he is, he owes it to Nigerian. He owes it to Nigerian people, because Dangote is one of us. Everything, before he begins to expand to other climes, to other places, I think he has made his fortune. He has broken the market from Nigeria. It is Nigeria that marketed Dangote, even off the shores of Nigeria. So he should come from that angle of gratitude. You know, all I see him trying to do is to see a way, push the federal government, to push the international oil companies to begin to make concessions. Concessions here might be massive discount. Let me tell you what I find out myself. Dangote requires a working capital of $1.8 billion to run that refinery. Now, $1.8 billion, it is not a chicken money, anybody knows. Now, I think what Dangote wanted to do by not going, specifically into any agreement was to leverage what I call the porous system to always have his way to, run that refinery. I went further to deep in to know why did he not secure this deal? Before going into refining this.
Yeah.
If these IOCs are one, these IOCs are here to do business as well. Nigeria has what it takes from the crude. They explore. They have what they take. They have signed agreement with off-takers even before Dangote came on board. If the federal government, I repeat this with emphasis, if the federal government goes ahead and falls for this thing that Dangote is trying to push them into, we will have a situation where we will begin to have litigations. These organizations, we think that government is meddling into trying to, go contrary to the agreement they have with the federal government. And the implication is that they will begin to sue Nigeria and they will begin to get damages paid. We have had, we've seen, big oil companies leaving Nigeria. Have you asked yourself why? We saw some left under the past administration. There is still possibility that others will leave when they are not getting what they want to get. I could say, and I want to be very blunt about this, that we need to, do I use the word pamper, curry these people, curry investors to come into the system, bring in funds into the system. Dangote wants things to be done for him without any responsibility. I went deeper to know why NNPC opted out of the 20% stake. I don't know if you know that Dangote got stuck midway during the construction of that refinery, and government came to his, to his help by routing for a $1 billion loan to him, with which they acquired some stake in Dangote Refinery.
Okay, Mr.
original
Shedrack,
plan was-
allow me to butt in
Yes.
and ask you a follow-up question. That because the claims is that he
Go
has
ahead.
received only 6 cargoes instead of 15. So, looking at all of this you've identified, is that why the NUPRC is not giving him the remaining cargoes?
Well, I do not know. I am just trying to tell you what I know, what I found out myself. I've said it earlier that Dangote so far has taken delivery of 39 cargoes. 39 cargoes has betted with crude oil for him. Okay? I don't want Mr. Dangote to toe that line of confrontation, trying to work on emotions, trying to mobilize people to begin to blackmail those he feels are not doing his bidding. I am not, like I said, holding brief for the government, but we have found ourselves in a crossroad as a nation. Every petrol in Nigeria should see the reason why we should rescue the soul of Nigeria. I keep saying, and that is the truth, that Nigeria is a mono economy. We depend largely, on proceeds from oil, crude oil. If anything happens to that sector, this country is grounded. We have not diversified. We are only making an attempt to begin to explore agriculture, begin to optimize other opportunities we have in the mining sector, the tourism sector. All those things are on the pipeline. They have not fully manifested. For now, oil looks like the be-all for this nation. So I am saying, let this government not be pushed into bending rules that will make us begin to lose money. First, we shouldn't lose money as a country now. What I expect Nigerians to do, I have heard in some quarters, people are making certain claims of not all this money. What are they doing with it? Let all the money come in. Let us begin to hold government accountable. Let us begin to ask, this money that came in, how did you spend it? It is better for me that the money has hit the treasury than one policy stopping the money from hitting the treasury. If that money hits the treasury, we'll begin to engage the government and say, how did you spend the money that came to the coffers of the government? I have heard people say that there's increase of crude going to Malta, and there is speculation that something is happening in Malta. I do not know. I say, show me evidence. If you show me that evidence, I'll be the first to fly it. I'll be one of those Nigerians flying those evidence. But so far, I've not seen any evidence. Now, let me put it this way. To the best of my knowledge, United States stopped buying Nigerian crude for a very long time. India became our next big trading partner. When the war, the Russian and Ukrainian war, began, Russia obviously made offer to India, and India moved towards the Russia axis, possibly because of proximity and other things they start to benefit. So Nigeria, I will tell you, might not have a big player, a big buyer, prior to this time. So if our crude oil is going to Malta, I do not have any problem with that. I have problem if those money that we are supposed to get are not being accounted for. So I think if government has seen a new heaven in Malta, and that will bring in money to the coffers to help Nigeria, out of where we have found ourselves, I do not have problem with that. And another point I want to make is that the oil and gas sector is a highly regulated sector. We have local regulators here, NNPC, and all the affiliate agencies. They have those regulating them as well. There are international organizations that have a say in whatever that is happening in the oil and gas sector. So it is not something somebody wakes up one morning and begin to act the way he or she wants to act, because you are being monitored. Those organizations are monitoring you. Nigerians are monitoring you as well. This is an era of information. People have learned to dig up anything they can dig up. I personally thrive. I enjoy digging up things on people, especially those we have elected or appointed to serve us, because they owe us stewardship report. They owe us accountability. They owe us explanations when we ask questions. So I don't want us to always go with this mentality that someone else is being cheated somewhere. I read somewhere somebody was using a Jokuta steel to relate it to Dangote. Maybe the effort will lead to a collapse of that very strong business edifice. I tend to disagree a bit because Dangote is a private company. No private company, allows such investment to go down. And Dangote is a big name globally. He knows where to push his button and get things done. I am thinking that at this point, Dangote should liberalize his operations and go for investors, people that will make stake in that refinery. Do we need that refinery as Nigerians? We need it absolutely. I am not a supporter of even government running any refinery. Globally, we have not seen government being successful in running some, profit-oriented organizations like refinery. In Saudi Arabia, Aramco sold a substantial part of that refinery. It was a national refinery, but they outsourced it to investors, and they have a stake. They watch, regulate. Fine, that is the way it should be. Dangote is a big name. I don't think he should find it difficult to begin to complain about this issue. If he has valid points, he can take it up with the particular agencies that regulate the oil and gas, this thing, beyond the shores of Nigeria. We have OPEC. Has he appealed to OPEC and said, look at what the government of the day is doing to frustrate me? If he has a case, I think an organization like OPEC can listen to him and possibly penalize the government of the day for doing such. So we should grow beyond that level of sensationalism, level of sentiment we should begin to show facts and figures. The moment of showing has come. Let us stop talking. Show us. We want Dangote to succeed, but I don't want him to succeed at the expense of 250 million Nigerians. Dangote is just one person in the midst of 250. I am more particular about the welfare. How do we get these 250 million Nigerians from the poverty line and place them where people begin to optimize their God-given talent, where people will begin to create things. I went to India and I saw what I saw. I came back, I made a publication, and I told Nigerians, there's so much you can learn from India. Today, the total export of India, 45% of total export of India comes from the informal sector. That is people in the rural and isolated places. Governments began to harness the opportunities, optimize resources within their domain, and make them more creative. Now they are contributing to 45% of total export of India. That is what I wish for my dear country, Nigeria. And I am not pro-elitist. Let me come from that angle. I am pro-Nigerians. I want Nigeria, whatever you can create, let government create an enabling environment where we begin to optimize our own talent and resources. So, having said that, I don't think that the emphasis should be more on... the truth is that I've not seen this big shot fight openly before now. For whatever reason they are fighting, we shouldn't be caught in the crossfire. He knows what to do. He knows what to do. And to me, the right thing to do is to find a way to get investors to put in money there. Nigeria is not the only exporting crude oil company. He said the other day he was buying from America and other countries. Very well. We love that. But the quality of Nigerian crude is something that will help him a great deal. We know the quality of crude that comes from U.S. We know the one coming from Venezuela. Nigeria has one of the best crude oil. Dangote needs the crude oil. We need Dangote. We need that refinery to work at the full installed capacity. It will be a good thing for Nigerians that we have a functional refinery working for us. But at the same time, like I said, it shouldn't be at the cost of the common man. I do not support making any concession at this point for Dangote that will affect the revenue inflow of this government. We need all the
all right then. All right. My own research too, we heard that certificate of quality from the refinery proves that it received a total of 29 cargoes from IOCs. And these COQs are issued like receipts, and it has shows the consignor and the consignee, and of course, dates and time of shipment. But my question really would be, looking at how it's mandated by the Petroleum Industry Act and what Dangote is, who is he really against? We're looking at it now. Why has the supplied crude to be traded in Naira basis? Looking at the presidential directive, is that also going to sort anything out in all of this? Looking at that directive from the president that it should be sold in Naira, considering all of these facts that we've laid off, is having issues with the NUPRC, the IOCs. Who exactly are you having these differences with? And what do you think about that directive as we almost wrap up?
Tolu, what we need in this country is coming to the negotiation table, bring everything to the table, and look at them critically. I don't want to be seen to be among those who are, shouting when there is no. I don't want us to begin to pursue a shadow when we should be pursuing the substance. I've told you information available to me. In fact, it is very simple. You study the body language of the government of the day. Mr. Tinubu seems to be saying, I don't have any concession to make to you. This is your personal business. Come up, come up. Let me tell you, in business, we are told that no doesn't mean no in the real sense of it. If I tell a partner no, I'm not saying I'm not willing to deal with you. I'm only saying, come up higher, guy. There's something more I'm expecting you to do. Dangote he has this spirit of always conquering. I love that. He has influenced some of us in our little businesses, that there is always this heart we could have to overcome challenges in our business lives. Let him not take the no, or what seems to be the no of the government, as no. He should see it that possibly there's something government is trying to tell him, come up higher, come up higher. I have always asked myself, in what way will the refinery benefit Nigeria, even if this, I want you to understand, I am on the part of Nigerians, an average Nigerian that are suffering. I want to be speaking for them. I don't want to speak for the government. I don't want to speak for Dangote. These are big shots. They always have a way to sort out their things. But in all these things that are happening, if it doesn't translate to the good of ordinary Nigerian, then I'm out. I won't support any party. I just want the right thing to be done. Let Dangote look for fund and bring fund into the economy. We need all the inflows of funds. Okay? I mean, that business is not a cheap business. It is capital intensive. And I asked myself, why did the government withdraw itself from the 20% stake it was supposed to have with Dangote? People should get it right. Sometimes research and ask questions. Introspect. Government has staked 1 billion already to Dangote to help him out. I keep saying it. It wasn't government that went to Dangote. It was Dangote that was stopped midway and needed help. The government of that day helped him. Now, the other 13%, that thing was what I think 7% stake. The whole idea before now was 20% stake. And the 20%, the whole idea was to benefit Dangote, because that 13% was supposed to come through crude. If Nigeria has done that, if government has done that, it means that Dangote will be operating his refinery at the expense of the government. Government will be the one, through crude and incentives, tax holidays and everything, will be shouldering 1.8 billion working capital that Dangote needs to operate that refinery. Government should not spend that on one individual business. It's a personal business. It's a personal business. Government should spend Nigerian money on Nigerians, especially at this point, the ordinary Nigerians. We just came back from a protest, my brother. If there is nothing to be done urgently to rescue the situation, if the people are not empowered, if we do not encourage the youth to explore their God-given talent, push them into agriculture, push them into the creative industry, begin to encourage them to begin to create things. You and I will not like the result. I don't want to lose this country. I don't want to run away. I have been opportune to live off the shores of Nigeria. I know what it's like to live there. It is still not heaven. My home is my heaven. Nigeria matters so much to me. Some of us prior to this time loved this nation. We have always loved Nigeria. We have made contribution. I used to tell people, if we are talking about Nigeria, the first question I ask is, what have you contributed? What have you contributed towards the growth of Nigeria? And if you ask me that question, I will say I have made 3 contributions that is today flowing within the national level. Some of us decide to operate from behind the scene, but we love this nation. So my point is this. Government should face governance. Get all the money needed. Face governance. Eliminate insecurity. If you begin to align with Dangote to help him to be funding, providing $1.8 billion to run his refinery, and you leave the economy unattended to, do you know the level of insecurity? You are not going to be safe. I'm not going to be safe. It is already happening. You will just be moving, people attack you on the way just for the sole purpose of collecting your phone. They can kill you. People have lost their life. What causes that? Hunger. Someone needs to feed. He needs to survive by all means. If that means taking a life, he wouldn't mind. It is happening. We need to rescue this nation from that abysmal level that is pointing to. Nigeria should begin to ask for accountability, stewardship report from these leaders. Let us de-emphasize on this Dangote. He's a businessman. He's a big shot. Globally, he's a name. He's a brand. Dangote can be anywhere. He's one of the he's the richest black man, as we thought. He can talk people into coming to Nigeria to invest in his refinery. He can call big shots in Nigeria and say, come and have a stake in this. It has happened. That's why I cited instance of Aramco in Saudi Arabia.
Okay. All right, let's wrap up this conversation now. And let me ask you this final question, if you can do this in 2 minutes. Has there been improvement in crude oil production, and all of this back and forth, is it affecting local sales, and can it cause lack of patriotism to our own than these IOCs?
Tolu, my brother, I do not want to always bother myself with the politics of crude oil, what is happening there. Even if Dangote begins to operate today, at full installed capacity, and I am still buying, as a businessman, I am still buying fuel and diesel, how much I'm buying it. You think I'll be praising him? No. I wouldn't even see him as a patriotic person. I won't even see him to have affected my business in any positive way. So if you look at my stand on this situation, my stand is simple. Those concessions are not necessary now. Nigeria needs something very far much important. Let us rescue ourselves where we are first, while Dangote goes to see what he can do. I am believing at the end of the day, these big fighters will come to the negotiation table and still find a way out of their quagmire. But for now, any concession that will lead us losing revenue in terms of taxes and concessions, tax holidays, I don't think is good for this country.
All right.
We are in a fix, and we need to get out of it. The government of the day should concentrate on lifting the youth from what is about to happen if nothing is done about it. It should be the preoccupation of the current government, and not suiting the ego, the yearning of a particular person, not me, not Dangote. Okay? The concentration should leave the elite. They've taken so much from the system. I don't want to shy away from saying that. They have taken so much from the system. Let we, the people, breathe. The poor amongst us should breathe. We should be part and parcel of that national cake. In our only two ways, I've always asked myself, what are the people asking for? Just nothing small. Give us a leverage to actualize our dreams. Give us a leverage to begin to create things. give us an enabling environment. I'm a farmer, Tolu. I'm a farmer. As we talk in my poultry now, I don't even operate within 30% in store capacity. Why? Cost of operation. You think I'm happy about that?
Honestly, that our time is far spent.
Optimize. It should be the dream of any Nigerian youth, not fighting someone's cause, a cause that ends up enriching the pocket of individuals. I'm not buying into that. I'm not buying into that.
All right there. Mr. Light Shedrack, I must thank International Business Ideation Specialist. Thank you so much for making sense of this very important topic.